Hello friends and family, thank you for coming to watch this video. Today's video is super exciting. I am beyond excited. I was watching Mina Villegas' premiere called Tipsy, Piggies, and she was asking a number of questions, and obviously I'm not fast enough to like type in, the answer. But one of the questions was, where does she live? And so, of course, I know where she lives. And I just abbreviated, and luckily enough, I won. And so I'm going to be getting some little piggies pigments. So I'm super excited. So I will be doing like an unboxing kind of video, and obviously utilizing them. I'm gonna be taking Mina's Tipsy Piggies recipe on how to utilize the piggies in a regular pour. So I'm excited about that. And because I'm so excited, I decided to do this pour. And the pour, I'm utilizing the same paints that I used yesterday. So here I'm going to put the information in the description again as soon as I fix my laptop. But basically, they feature lots of metallics. Let me see if I can remember. So definitely Deco Art 24 karat gold, copper by Deco Art, pearl by Deco Art. We have Artesa's Indian yellow hue. We have Amsterdam's greenish blue. We have greenish blue, and then we have Payne's Gray by Liquitex Basics. We have Mars Black by Liquitex Basics, and we have Garnet by Deco Art, and by Master's Touch we have it's Phthalo Green, I think dark hue. This is really deep green by Master's Touch. So now I also decided, because I'm so excited, I didn't know which pour to pick, so I used both a straight pour, and also a wandering ring pour in a pillow of gold. So let's see how this goes. So I am using some of the copper, which is Deco Art Metallics. I hope I listed that one before, but yeah. So I'm using that around the composition, because I don't want to lose too much of the composition. So by putting this extra paint around it, then when the paint or the composition moves, when I'm tilting, it'll begin to eat that first, and not some of these other beautiful colors that we poured. And then I'm gonna also be using some of the drippings from the previous pour to use as a flow extender. And so I'm adding copper to the paint, but then I'm also using flow extender, because like I said, I really love how this turned out, and I want to keep as much of the composition as possible. So and here you'll note that I was just utilizing my hands to spread the flow extender, which is something that I don't necessarily recommend if you think you're gonna want some negative space, because you as it dries, if you use your hands, you're gonna see all the handprints and stuff like that. But because I wasn't gonna use any or want any negative space, then I feel that would be fine. So the best tip would be, if you want negative space, is if you're going to be putting some base color or a flow extender, you do it while using either a spatula, or also you can tilt if you're doing a base coat, you can tilt the base coat so that it's nice and leveled before you actually pour your paint, so that way you can have a really pretty negative space as well. So here we're tilting. Like I said, I really want to be able to keep as much of this composition as possible. My favorite part really is the straight pour, because it gave me these almost looks like a ladder of yellow with blues and the green underneath, and the yellow is transparent enough that you can see it underneath. And so I know that as we stretch it more, I'm gonna see some really beautiful things. In addition, those fingerlings that are dark are fantastic. Now, a color I forgot to mention that I use is also Marsh Black by Liquitex Basics. So and I did a layering process that I forgot to to record. So there's no way I can go back and try to replicate this. So yeah, not my intention, but it's what happened. Now here I'm tilting, and I'm tilting as much off as I possibly can without tilting off this yellow ladder looking piece of the composition. There was way too much paint, as always. Not as always, but I need to work on that. And so now I need to tilt off a bunch of this stuff, and but I'm still trying to keep as much of the composition as possible. And it looks like now that when I'm tilting and it slows down, it means that, to me, it tells me that I'm safe in terms of keeping the rest of the paint on here. It won't necessarily crack. And so now what I'm trying to do is just basically bring up the yellow ladder type part of the composition up, so that it's much more prominent in the entire piece, because I love it. I'm not sure exactly why I love it, but it just speaks to me. So I'm going to make that the feature, and it just looks lovely against this backdrop of the phthalo blue. And the phthalo blue has like little specks of like the pearl white, and it just looks lovely. So up against this yellow ladder thing, it really does look stunning. So now I'm just going to then try to compress some of these pieces that have or elements that have they look like there's not a lot of things happening in it. So just compressing it so they look more like lines instead of like patches of different colors. And so I love to have some of these lines around the main feature, which is this honeycomb type thing. I'm calling it honey because it really, to me, it does look like a honeycomb. I don't know if you've ever seen an actual honeycomb. I have. My grandmother used to was a beekeeper, and honeycombs are delicious.
This is a close-up of this one. This one has lots of different interesting points of interest. There's a chicken. I see a chicken there. There's so much stuff to see in this one. It's gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Well, I like it. Like that's like a dinosaur there. Or it could be like a creepy hand. But I want to think more like a dinosaur or something. Then I have like some copper cells popping through the phthalo blue, which looks pretty amazing. Can't wait to see it fully develop. It continues to cell up and give us some really pretty things. So let's see what happens with this one. So look at this, the light blue cells coming through the phthalo blue are really pretty. I suspect that those cells are really the pearl. And then you have the garnet blending with the Indian yellow hue, as well as the copper and perhaps the pearl, making this fiery blend here so pretty. And I suspect this is going to be really pretty when it dries, so hopefully it is very pretty, and I will bring you in to see the final results when they do happen. It's gotten cold, so it'll take a couple of days for it to dry. I mean, we are in the desert, so it's not gonna take a week, but it is gonna take more than just overnight.
So here's the dry piece. It really dried beautifully, and the cells continue to develop as it dried, and they look fantastic, absolutely fabulous. Look at all this, it's just so pretty. And this definitely shows my excitement at having won anything. But especially because it was one of Mina's during one of Mina's premieres. I think she is one of the most amazing artists around, and she's like super open to helping new artists or art students. If you ask her a question in her videos, she quickly responds. I remember asking her about the torch because I am legally blind. I'm a little afraid of actually doing a torch, and so I asked her, well, what's the deal with that? Do I absolutely need a torch? And she said, yes, you do, and I'll show you why. So because I'm afraid of the torch, so I leave all these air bubbles in the paint that I don't necessarily see. But when it dries, it leaves these little bumps. Now, as a blind person, I actually appreciate that because I touch it, and so that it gives texture. So for the special needs community, it's a plus, but it doesn't look pretty enough for some folk. So yeah, so this is why most people will use a torch. I am still afraid of it, but recognize that the heat gun is just not able to deal with this many air bubbles. But nonetheless, it is a stunning piece.